It's an all blue affair to kick off the weekend. We have Chelsea hosting Brighton at Stamford Bridge. Now, I was looking at the bettings for this one, and I was looking at Brighton.
I mean, yeah, Brighton were very unlucky to not get all, if not all three, not even a point. And Chelsea scoreless in 4 straight matches. That includes, of course, the Champions League as well. But yeah, I mean, I just in the reverse fixture was Graham Potter's return, right, to the Amex. This time it's Brentford, sorry, not Brentford, Brighton traveling to Stamford Bridge. And Chelsea could struggle to score again here. I don't think they'll struggle to score. I think they'll score because I don't necessarily believe in the keeper for Brighton. But yeah, I mean, overall, the result wise, it's gonna be very tough for Chelsea again.
You know, all right, so we can kind of accept in this match. I think we're both leaning towards a Brighton win and Chelsea to struggle to score as they typically do, Brighton to be on top. But I want to look at Chelsea's future now that we're coming towards the end of the season. I know we're not quite there yet, but kind of getting there. Chelsea, I don't know why, but I feel like they're gonna come back again next season, as they always do, always an up and down type of team.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it's gonna depend on the manager, of course. There's I think there's mainly 3 people for their money. The German guy who got sacked from Bayern, the Spanish guy who didn't perform at the World Cup with the Spanish national team, and then there's Mourinho. And I think the third name is very intriguing, very interesting to me because we know how that relationship has kind of evolved into. It's turned sour, famously, Chelsea fans. I wouldn't say mocking him, but making those chants against him and him responding with the three, right? The 3 titles that he won there. Um, yeah, it's just they're gonna come back, right? They're gonna come back, but I think Chelsea fans have to be in for a reality check because they're not the same team they were under Roman Abramovich.
They're absolutely not, but I just think that they're the type of team with the type of players, the quality that they have in, and the history that they have. I could see them as title contenders next season, like that type of turnaround. I really see them as a threat.
I mean, they certainly have the players. There's no one's gonna sit here and say they don't have the players. I mean, when you spent what £600 million and you're gonna end up in the bottom half of the league and trophy list, of course I mean, just the money alone, they have the players, and that's why I say Mourinho is intriguing because I almost feel like this team is set up for him. Right? You have Mudryk, who's lightning quick. He could develop into a great player under Mourinho. Defensively, they have very decent center backs. I mean, they have 20 center backs, right? They've signed 15 in last summer alone. And the midfield is full of workhorses. And there's no physical presence in there like he, normally likes, like Matic, Lampard, Balak, or Essie and any of those guys. But Kante, Enzo, Kovacic, it's a good base to build off of. So I think Mourinho is a very interesting candidate. And I've seen a good amount of Chelsea fans actually not opposed to that idea. But I think, yeah, that probably wouldn't be the board's first preference, obviously. I don't think. But I mean, we'll see. But yeah, they have a very good squad. It's just down to who can actually gel them all together.
I don't think they're gonna go with Mourinho. I think they're gonna go with the flashy option, the young, vibrant, like you said, the flashy new toy. I think that's what they're gonna go with, personally. But another one of Mourinho's old sides, Tottenham, they host Bournemouth. Harry Kane at them again or what?
Harry Kane, I think has a good record against Bournemouth, if I'm not I mean, he has a good record against everybody, but yeah, I mean, Bournemouth away form is it's questionable at best. I think I hate to say it, but it has to be it should be a pretty comfortable win for Tottenham this game.
It feels like you can't say that though. I mean, they just produce shit at any moment.
I mean, yes, but you just look at the quality of Bournemouth. I mean, they had an impressive win recently against. I mean, can we even call that impressive? Away at home against Leicester. Every time they go away from home, they concede 3-4 easily. They concede. Okay, against Arsenal, okay, they conceded three under freak circumstances. They conceded three against Villa and last away game Leicester. They managed to keep a clean sheet and they could have easily scored 4-5 and 1-0 was not a lucky result for them. But I just think when given the chance, I mean, we saw what Tottenham did against Brighton, right? They've converted two chances at 0.2 and 0.7. Sorry, not 7 and 0.02 of XG into two goals. So at the end of the day, for Bournemouth, it comes down to clean sheets, and they're not going to get that at Tottenham.
Yeah, I wonder if Bournemouth can give them the same kind of troubles that they gave us.
I mean, they could, right? I mean, it was a freak start that game. That goal should not have stood. Okay, technically should not have stood because I think a few of the Bournemouth players were over the halfway line. But I guess that's some of the things that it's there and we just ignore. I personally don't see it happening because well, here's the thing though. For Tottenham, their danger is going up 1-0, right? When they go up 1-0, they take, or if they do go up 1-0, they tend to take the foot off the gas. And I think that's the only thing that could possibly let Bournemouth back into it. If you remember in the reverse fixture, Bournemouth are up 2-0 and Tottenham came back to win 3-2. So it just comes, for me, it comes down to that defensive solidity that Bournemouth probably don't have against a top side like Tottenham.
Yeah, I think that's agreeable. I think it's fair to say that Tottenham are probably gonna come out with the win, unfortunately. But I think it could go either way as far as being a comfortable victory as opposed to a very, very tough fought out victory. It could go either way. I think that depends on the swing of the game. But another exciting one in the top four race, that's the one that you're gonna be looking out for more, because the one we are looking out for is the following game, Man City. They host Leicester. In a match where I hope Leicester can produce some damage, as we have seen before, but I just don't see it happening.
Leicester have, I mean, it's kind of got under the brush because of Graham Potter, but they sacked Brendan Rodgers, which has been a long time coming. I mean, he's made that comment. I think it was last summer, where I mean, he pretty much threw the players under the bus, right? Saying, if I mean, he's told them even that they can go, and I think that was under the expectation that he would be able to sign the players or any players really. And yeah, a few weeks ago, I wasn't just necessarily worried about Leicester because I mean they have such a good squad, right? They came in fifth 2 seasons in a row, a few seasons back. But now I'm looking at them, I'm actually worried. 8 games left. I mean, how much? I guess they're hoping for that new manager bounce from Dean Smith, but how much can that really work when there's 8 matches left, right? And so many of the other competitors around them have already gone through that new manager bounce, and I just, again, the timing comes into question for Leicester to sack Brendan Rodgers. You could have had the international break to sack him if you really wanted to, and even then, I mean, you could have let him go in the summer. I mean, we can go all the way back to summer, right? When there's obviously these disagreements with the board and the manager in terms of how they want to go about it, because he clearly wanted a revamp, and the board wasn't able to give him that.
Well, hear what? I am hoping for the new manager bounce. If this is the one game that we can have a new manager bounce for Leicester, and then you can talk about the terrible decision of the timing and all that for the long run, sure, I don't care. Just the new manager bounce today on Sunday, please. That's all we're asking for. But as I say, I don't think it can happen. But from a Man City perspective, how are they going to set up to ensure that the favorite is going to win in this match? Is this a chance to rest some players? They had a good Champions League performance.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, Leicester 2 seasons ago they beat them 5-2 at the Etihad. Again, not the same Leicester. They're in terrible form, and even then, they still can't let their guard down because City have dropped a lot more points at home than they're used to dropping. So they just simply cannot. Although their recent form has been impressive ever since the loss to Tottenham, they've only dropped 2 points in the league, only two, and that was back in early February, I think. So now we're looking at 2 months. Only dropped 2 points. That was against Forest. That was also a late equalizer from Chris Wood. So yeah, they can't let their guard down. I know Leicester are in terrible form, but you have to just play your best team because I mean 3-0 the Champions League is a pretty comfortable lead, right? So I know this I probably not this is not how they think, but I think at least for this week, it's time to focus on the league, if that makes sense, compared to the return leg for the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I was even talking about saying if they rest players here against Leicester, maybe they're not looking to do that. Maybe they look to rest players against Bayern. But then you ask the question, can they let their guard down against Bayern?
Well, they can't, but you just have to push through it. You have to. They've had 4 days of rest, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there's no excuses to rest the players. And to be honest, that 3-0 was maybe okay, slightly undeserved. I didn't think it was a 3-0 game, maybe a 2-1 to City, perhaps. But to me, it felt like a very, I wouldn't say easy because obviously it's Bayern our top team, but they didn't really break all their sweats and ran for 15 kilometers, right? So I think, yeah, I don't think they can afford to slip up anymore in the league. So they have to go for the strongest team.
And there would go, looking like the champions are gonna go all out against Leicester from your side of things. But the potential, or should I even not say potential, the soon to be champions, Arsenal, traveling to West Ham in what could really look like a difficult match for real. Or you think Arsenal can just prove the strength and get the 3 points?
No, West Ham are terrible. There's no chance. They just dropped points in Europe for the first time this season. They were on fire. I think they played 10 and they won all 10 and they went away to Belgium, sorry, and they just dropped not 2 points because it's a two-legged tie, but from a winning position they dropped the win against Newcastle. They were thrashed 5-1, and that was mainly down to their own downfall. Made stupid mistakes in defense, gave away cheap goals, and Newcastle. Okay, I have to say this about Newcastle. I know I wrote off Isak, and he's in good form right now. And one thing that I neglected about him was that he's a very good presser. And then who do we have at Arsenal? The returning
Classic.
striker.
The
So
classic. You don't know. Gabby Jesus. Is he the difference maker for you?
yeah, I mean, he's scored what 2 games in a row now, right? Since his return. 2 open goals. I know he scored 3, but 2 open goals in a row. Yeah, he's got to be the difference maker. I just think West Ham are very fragile. It's the stadium was half empty, or more like three-fourth empty by the time the second half was almost done. There's just such a big disconnect, it seems, between the team and the fans. I just doesn't seem like a good place to be at all right now, West Ham. So I
Yeah,
know, I know historically you're probably looking at this and thinking could be a tough one. I honestly don't think so.
yeah, that's the thing. I'm really just looking at it from a historical perspective and, the atmosphere, the type of fans, I just think it's gonna be that type of vibe. But maybe you're right. Maybe this will just turn out to be a comfortable victory for Arsenal, which again we have seen in the past. Arsenal go away to West Ham and collect a nice comfortable victory. So hopefully we see more of that again. What do you think from besides Jesus, as you mentioned already? What do you think are some aspects from Arsenal side that you think have to be a key factor in this match?
You already know what I'm gonna say. Keeping a clean sheet. Haven't kept a clean sheet for 5 games in a row now since Fulham, or is it four? I don't remember exactly. But and if you take out the Fulham game, haven't kept a clean sheet since against Everton. It's a worry.
Well, I will say over the course of the season, Arsenal's away form has been a lot better as far as clean sheets go.
But okay, I'm not comparing West Ham to Liverpool, but Arsenal faltered in the second half against Liverpool.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. But I think that was a lot down to Liverpool's press. West Ham, will they have that same energy?
No, and of course, a lot's always made about Anfield, kind of pushing the Liverpool players on. And like I said, with West Ham, I think if West Ham go down 2-0, 3-0, there's just the stadium might be empty again. So I personally, even, I mean, it's really hard for me to see. The only way I can see West Ham's energy levels being kept up is if somehow they score a goal or two early on. Probably not going to happen. Very, it's going to be have to be something like a huge deflection or something very lucky to fall onto West Ham's laps for them to even be up in that situation. But yeah, there's
Yeah, I
just
think that would have to come down to like an Arsenal mistake, which I don't. I think that we're pretty confident in that area. I think the two key factors is Partey and Zinchenko. That base in midfield is gonna be critical to how we play this game. But I think the real productivity out of that, the wide areas we have to look at. Martinelli and Saka again, just key to the game, and I think it's gonna be the same again.
yeah, sure. Martinelli scored and had a I'll say I would have said good game if he was able to square that in the 9 minutes of the game. Had a decent game at Anfield. He
Goal
seems
and
to
assist, by the way.
should have
But
been
yes, the miss
should have
assist it should have been two. Yes.
should have been a goal and two assists. Um, but he seems to be getting back on form. I know he had a slight dip. He's been scoring. So yeah, always Arsenal have threats in the wide areas, unlike City. So yeah.
Switching things over to your side, you're traveling to Nottingham Forest, and boy, that Europa League game midweek, jeez, it's probably the worst. Everything that could go wrong, went wrong. Literally, it was one, you went up and you lost a two-goal lead at home, and you lost Lisandro Martinez, one of the most important defenders, to a freak injury, or hopefully for your sake, he's not out long, but I think they had to get a stretch out for him.
Oh, he's done. He's done. I mean, this season he's done. Probably into next season. It looks like an Achilles. Huge. Okay, the modern science or whatever you want to call it has shortened the recovery time, but still, we're looking at months, not weeks. So, and
It's over.
and the two goals is just huge deflections, right? It's just either way. It's start off great, went to unlucky, went to very, very bad in the end. But I mean, this is just comes down to, and I mentioned this, I think, in the pod before about his rotations. You can't play this many games with the same set of players. Both now Martinez and Rashford injured from non-contact, no contact at all whatsoever. I can understand injuries like the ones that happen to Ericsson or Garnacho and whatnot. I mean, tackles are a part of the game. Right? You cannot prevent that, whether you get stepped on or it should be cut out of the game. Those dangerous tackles, but as a manager or as a player, you cannot control that whether you get hurt that way, right? But when injuries happening like this, it's I mean, it's just got to come down to load management. It's just fatigue and it's just frustrating because I guess we probably don't have the depth to rotate properly. And Rashford has scored 28 goals. Who's going to replace him? I understand, but yeah, it's just
You said it already. Manu is a Rashford team. And I think even on top of that, Lissandro was huge. He is huge. But what's crazy is
not not
like,
not figuratively, but
yeah, we know. But as in, literally, this is you always call it. You always say, yo, these Europa League matches are gonna catch up, these midweek matches are gonna catch up, they add up to injuries, and it's exactly what's happened to you. I mean, it happened to us too. The thing is with Saliba, but the thing is with us, we don't know how long he's out for. You know this is a long-term injury. But I guess that happened to us with Tomiyasu as well, but still, still very annoying, very frustrating for the grand scheme of the Premier League. How do you think this affects your top four chances?
uh, I mean, I said I was worried on Sunday. I'm even more worried now because I don't know how bad Varane's injury is, but he was forced off at halftime too. So we've lost our starting center halves, our only source of goals in Rashford, and well, luckily we're going to a Forest side that haven't won a game since February against Leeds at home. That's the only good thing, I guess. They've enjoyed some bad run of games in recent times, so I'm optimistic that we can get 3 points at least at Forest. But we have some tough games coming up. We still have to play Chelsea, still have to go to Tottenham, still have to go to Brighton. Again, Tottenham more of a direct top four rival, but Brighton as well. They could be threatening, and it's just again, it's
And
just
looking on things from the table standpoint, you should really be worried still, because you're trembling on fourth right now, and Tottenham are right behind you. They could easily pass you out. You do have a game in hand on them, but still.
yeah. I mean, that's why I'm worried because we have some tough games coming up, and two of our best players. I mean, one of them is out for sure. The other one, I we just don't know if he's. I mean, they said he's going to be back for the run-in, but what's the run-in, right? This is the run-in already. So what does that mean? So yeah,
Right.
I'm
If you
worried.
have a bad run, I mean, there's 8 games left or 9 games or whatever, but you have Aston Villa on your tail as well.
Yeah, and we still have to play them at home too. So again, I think this has got to come down. I mean, he's done well. Okay, he's done well so far, but this has got to come down to the manager. You cannot play that many games with the same sets of players in one single season, especially when there's World Cup too. I know Martinez didn't play much, neither did Rashford at the World Cup, but it's just I've been saying this, right? It's not like I'm overreacting now. I've been saying it. You cannot not rotate to this extent. You have to, especially when we're playing this many games.
You know who you sound like right now? You sound like Jurgen Klopp. Speaking of Jurgen Klopp,
Hey,
his
I'm
side
not
travel to
I'm not I'm not complaining. I'm raising a fair concern that I've been raising for the past few weeks, and it's come to fruition, unfortunately.
All right, you're again. Anyway, so he's traveling to Leeds. What do you think? Ellen Road, is that going to prove a difficult place again for Liverpool? I mean, they did it at Anfield. They got the victory.
Yes. First ever defeat at Anfield for Virgil van Dijk. That was amazing. That really was amazing. I remember watching that game. I was very impressed with Somerville. Somerville has slightly dipped in. I mean, he's had some injuries too, so I'll give him some. I'll cut him some slack. But Leeds are in danger too, right? Leeds brought in Javi Garcia. They've gotten some results in recent times, but they're barely off the bottom three by 2 points. Their goal difference is okay, surprisingly. That's because they, even though they concede a lot, they're able to score a lot. I think they've scored the most goals in the bottom half, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited for this game. This game is going to be a good watch, just like the Liverpool game against Arsenal. Remember when Leeds first got promoted, they got narrowly defeated by Liverpool at Anfield 4-3, right? The last minute. Or
Very exciting.
yeah.
A lot of good goals in that match.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to this match. I don't have any supporters allegiance to either side. I don't care who wins. Liverpool are not going to catch us this season at least, but I don't care. Leeds, I guess I kind of want Leeds to get relegated because I just hate going to Ellen Road. They're I mean, we all hate Leeds scum, right? So it's just not a fun place to go to. I'm sorry if there are any Leeds fans, but I don't enjoy going to. I'm not going there obviously, but I don't enjoy the games when my team goes to Ellen Road.
Yeah, Liverpool, you probably have to watch out for some injuries, as you've been collecting all season. Hopefully, your sake, none of that happens. Hopefully, for Elite's sake as well, none of that happens. But yeah,
I mean, I think we should touch on another big game. I mean, is it a big game? It's Newcastle traveling to Villa. Two sides in great form.
wow, wow. The first match of the weekend, early morning kickoff. But yo, that's actually crazy because both of these sides are looking like they're battling for Europe here. What do you think? You feel like it's gonna be one way, two ways? What are you thinking?
Well, Newcastle certainly are for a spot in Europe. This for them, it's a matter of Champions League or Europa League. Villa is more of a iffy Europe or not, but I mean, who would have thought this game this late on in the season that both teams are still fighting for something at this stage of the season. I'm hoping that Villa can do us a favor. I'll take a. I mean, knowing as how Villa are so close to us, I would probably settle ideally for a draw. I just think that the momentum can carry them over Newcastle at the moment. Newcastle, impressively, they beat Brentford. They become the second team behind Arsenal to uh, the only two teams to beat Brentford at their home. So again, this is no. I'm not confident that Villa are gonna be able to beat Newcastle, but yeah, it's a very tasty matchup.
Yeah, very exciting. Excited to see how Unai Emery goes up against his Newcastle side. I think
Remember
it's gonna be
Unai
a.
Emery? Well, Unai Emery could have been the Newcastle manager, right? If we go back 15
That's
months.
true.
He rejected them. I don't know what made him come to Villa, but well, I think at the time he was he was in a good situation with Villarreal. Remember that season they went to the semifinals of the Champions League too, even. So yeah, it's a very interesting match. I'll I'll be praying for a draw. Kind of give us a leeway, both ahead of us and behind us. But
What
should
would be your least favorite result in this one?
Newcastle win, because I need them to chill, because they could really run away. They've been winning. I think they've won every single game since the City defeat. And you look at their run-ins, they do have quite a tough schedule. They have to play Tottenham still. They have to play Arsenal still. Both games being at home. I'll give it that. But I think if Newcastle don't stop now, if their momentum doesn't get stopped now, they really could run away with the third position. So I need them to kind of relax now. You've had your fun. Go back to your spot, and let us come third, man. Please.
Good luck with that one. That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.